so welcome back to the episode of COSIGN Conversations. Today we have a special guest. We have the founder of Cheramie Wines, right?
Yes.
Miss Cheramie Law.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming today. So I like to ask the first question so our audience gets to know more of you from your POV. If you had to be asked, who is Cheramie Law, who would you say you are?
I think I'm a woman on a mission, right? I've been through so much in my life, and my 30s has the years that I've come alive and just really learning all about Cheramie. And so Cheramie is about love and friendship and a girl on a mission.
That's what I love, that girl on a mission.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to get to it. So I've been trying to get into wine myself. One thing I do know is I don't prefer dry wine.
Okay.
I don't prefer it, but I'm learning to adapt to that taste.
Yeah,
right?
let's talk through this.
Yeah. So tell us what made you get into wine and the different tastes and textures and what people should be actually looking for, especially with your wine.
Yeah. So how I got into wine was actually, I was an older college kid, so I was in the Marine Corps. Oh. And then when I got in the Marine Corps, I went to college. And so obviously, older kid, all my friends were older as well. And so, you go to the bar and you drink, but my friends went to a wine bar. And that's really kind of where I fell in love with wine. And then I met my partner, Todd, and he took me down to Fredericksburg. And I just fell in love with the atmosphere of specifically Texas wine. And then we used it as a way to really just get to know, get to know a lot of people. And someone asked us, hey, why are you guys doing this with Texas wine? And they kind of did it in a kind of like nose up in the air way. And so that Todd was in the Army. And so that made us go, you know what, we need to find out what's going on. So we spent about 3 or 4 years driving around Texas, meeting winemakers, growers, industry leaders, all in an effort to understand Texas wine. So we just really got addicted to the lifestyle, and so that's where we started. It was really cool and really awesome.
So for people who are just getting into tasting wine, like myself, walk us through some things to help us understand, just what we may be looking for, what we will end up liking, or some things we should try to find our palate.
So I would suggest for anybody, when people think wine, they think, let me just go to the grocery store and buy a bottle, right? I wouldn't suggest people start there because that's not, there's great brands in a grocery store, but you got to know what you're going for, right? If you're just going to go kind of for a bottom shelf, you're not going to get the best tasting wine. It's kind of if you drink like a cheap vodka or, a cheap whiskey or whatever, you're like, oh, I can't do it. And you're going to say, I don't like wine or I don't like whiskey or whatever. And so a lot of people start off in the sweet stuff, sweet wine, and that's totally fine. But I would suggest not sugary sweet wine. Like we have like our Riesling, it is a 2.4% residual sugar. So it's just slightly sweetened and it's naturally sweetened. So it's got that residual sugar, didn't add sugar to it. A lot of the wines that are marketed to us as Black people is that cheap, add a ton of sugar to it. And you're going, I don't like this. I don't like wine. That's because you're not drinking the good stuff. So my suggestion would be, one, get educated. Ask people like me, a wine professional like me, like, Cheramie, this is where I am in my palate. Where can I start? And you can tell me, hey, this is where I am. This is where I want to start. But I want to go start drinking that Tannat and that, that's the deepest. So that Cab and that Tannat. And let me move you down that road.
That's amazing. So with your product, who would you say is the first person or business that actually co-signed you and your brand?
So it's so interesting. Back in 2017, when I was just, baby, I was selling wine out in the streets of Dallas, selling wine. I mean, people were not taking me seriously. I had an awesome opportunity to sit with a gentleman, didn't know who he was, but have dinner, sit next to a gentleman, and I was just sharing my woes about being in wine. And he told me to keep going. He said, don't give up, keep going. And come to find out, he was the director of fine wine sales for one of the largest wine companies in the world. Wow. And so when he told me that, and then other people in the wine industry kept giving me that, jolt of energy that I needed. Cheramie, don't give up. I know this is hard, but what you're doing is kicking open the door for Texas wine. So it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of education. There's a lot of minds that need to be changed, but you are on the right path. We see it in you, so keep going. So that, but that first gentleman, when he was just like, you know what, keep going. And I found out who he was. I was like,
that's amazing. Okay, so not only are you coming from the Texas wine aspect, but then you're a woman and you're African American, right?
Yes.
So tell us kind of, what adversity you've been dealing with trying to get in the industry.
So, I mean, every which one. I won't say in the Texas wine industry, we are so new that we all have to work together to move forward. But when I started stepping out of the Texas wine, so what I did for myself was I knew that to be in the wine industry, I needed to understand the world of wine. So that's when I started networking within, with Psalms and buyers and, all of that good stuff with people around the world. Well, when I stepped into that, I would go to tastings. People wouldn't talk to me. They would, look at me strange, all kinds of just not good things. And I thought it was about me. Well, honestly, 2020, other than Corona, which is awful, Black Lives Matter has been a huge thing. Well, within that has shaken up the world of wine. And a lot of people have been awakened with that. And so things are not easy. People still look at me crazy, but everybody's eyes have been open as to just how one-sided wine has been. And so I like to be hopeful about things. I don't like to, I like to understand where I've been to know where I'm going. So I don't dwell on, hey, in the past, the world of wine has just been white men, right? It's like, that's what it is. But you know what? This is where we're going, where it's diverse, where everybody has a chance to partake either by drinking or having a brand or things of that nature. So,
it's amazing. So with 2020, the whole Black Lives Matter movement, have you seen any growth in your business from that? Because people are now focusing on more finding those Black-owned businesses, as opposed to previous years, we would just settle with anything. But now it's like, okay, I'm going to take that extra step to find Black-owned in each aspect of my lifestyle. Have you seen a boost from there?
100%. And it's been, and not because people have been like, I feel bad, so I just need to support this brand. But it's like, you know what? You're doing some awesome stuff. And I don't know why no one's talking about you. Because of, Corona and everybody being home, everybody has moved to Zoom. And so I've been able to talk to people around the world about my wine brand, which has been a great thing for us. But yeah, people are more wanting to support what I'm doing, but not just because I'm Black, but because they have known me for 6-7 years, and they see me grow up in this, and they're like, you know what? No, she deserves a chance. She deserves what she's getting. And they have, opened doors for me and mentored me in ways that I'm so blessed and excited about.
Yeah. So earlier you talked about doing research. So when I started doing COSIGN, I realized media was, a $1 billion industry. I looked at brands I wanted to be around, like Vice and Complex. Vice is worth $4 billion. Complex is in the hundreds of millions. When you look into the wine industry, what market share do you want to capitalize on? I'm pretty sure wine is what, $1 billion or how?
I don't even know. It's huge. It's huge. I mean, in the good times, people drink wine. In the bad times, people drink wine. So that's great. For me, I am. So I'm coming at it differently. I'm representing a whole up and coming wine region, not by myself, but I'm a part of an up and coming wine region. And so we are moving forward to change literally the world of wine about what's going on. So when I look at that, I want our wine to go everywhere. Like 2021, 2022, I want to be in distribution where we're going to, let's say we're going to 30 states. When we released our wine, our first wine, the Riesling, we have a Riesling and a Rosé, our first wine, September 2020, we went to 27 states. We delivered our wine to 27 states, which is unheard of for a Texas wine brand. And so, there are a few that I look at to try to emulate, but I'm also on a whole other path. I do look at the big boys because they teach you about business, like how to do business. I had a mentor who he was like, this is a business, and giving us, knowledge about how to make it true. So anyways, that's what I do. I look at the big boys, but I'm not trying to follow them because I'm doing something different.
Got you. So you spoke on mentorship, which is amazing. Is your mentor in the wine business or just in business in general?
No, he's in the wine business. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you feel like it is important in any industry to have a mentor?
Well, how else? How else are you going to learn? I mean, it's business in and of itself is difficult. You can have the best idea, but if you don't know about marketing and you don't know about sales and you don't know about relationships and you don't know about, the ins and the outs, how are you going to make it, right? Like, how are you? Even one of the biggest black wine brand, I'm in a group called African American Vintners Association, and some of the bigger wine brands that are part of that, they started because they had a mentor. Like the president of the organization got his start because he had a mentor from one of the huge wine brands, right? And so that's just 30 years ago or something like that. So it's absolutely important. Like, I don't think you can move forward without a mentor. I really don't.
Actually, I agree. So what I want to do next is kind of go through. So we love storytelling, right?
Okay.
So I want to go through the whole story of it. So tell us what year you launched, right? So you kind of told what you did previously, like you did the research. But tell us what year you launched, and then walk us up to today, like the growth of your business, what you've done in between. I know it might be a long story, but just kind of like walk us through.
Perfect. That's my favorite thing. That's my favorite thing.
Let's do it.
So we launched Salt and Pepper Wine, which is the holding company of Cheramie Wine. We launched that in 2017. And that was, we were on social media telling stories about, hey, we're sitting with the winemaker, down here in Fredericksburg, right? And that's what people know us as. And we built that brand. Then we moved on until we realized, hey, we should start selling this. Like, we, know everybody in the industry. And we worked with other wineries within Texas to sell their wine in Dallas. And then Texas wine being as small as it is, I don't want to say don't understand, but a lot of wineries don't understand how to sell wine outside of their tasting rooms. And so we're having a difficulty, right? And when you start hitting up against those difficulties, you say, how do I get out of that, right? And we decided we want to sell our own wine. And so we started our own brand. We knew all of the people within the industry. They loved us. They opened up their doors for us. And from there, we started selling our own wine. And then we released this one September 21st.
That's the reason.
The Riesling, September 21st, which we got a silver in 2020, September 2020. But what I want to say, when people hear that, they're like, oh, that's easy, whatever. But within that, I have hit the pavement. I've met so many people. I made networking my number one thing. Before I even had my own product in my hand, I went out to as many networking groups as possible, whether they be, you go and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a waste of time, or, oh man, I got so many contacts here. But I wanted to be known as the Texas wine enthusiast, or the Texas wine, I say girl, I don't like that, I'm a woman, the Texas wine woman in Dallas, right? When they think Texas wine, I want people to go, we need to, contact Cheramie. Now it's gone bigger. Hey, you need wine, go to Cheramie. Oh, you want some wine? Black on wine brand, Cheramie. You want whatever. So I put in a lot of work by hitting the pavement. So any entrepreneur knows it's not that easy. But people getting into it, I don't want people to get into a business, get into entrepreneurship, and without the knowledge of how much they have to hit the ground before they even make their first dollar, right? It was years, 3 years before we had this in the bottle and we made $1 out of it. And that was, us, my fiance, I call him my partner. We just got engaged in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry. We put so much of our own money into this before we even made $1 back. Like before, our babies even started paying for themselves. So people need to understand that part.
Yeah. how hands-on are you with the company? Meaning, there has been, entrepreneurship, there's what is it called? There's white label. Then there's people who go everything. Do you actually go taste it, pick the bottle of yourself?
Yes.
Like, so you do everything hands-on.
I'm hands-on everything. So what's important to me is from grape to glass. Yeah. Every person that is a part of this bottle is a friend of mine, right? So our friends grew the wine. My friends made the design and the label and the cork and, the people who actually bottle it for me. Then Todd and I literally drive across the state of Texas. So we're definitely hands-on on that part. But this is us 100%. This is not us, taking from someone else. So from grape to glass and everything in between, we know everyone who does from our corks, just everything. I want people to, when they drink Cheramie wine, I want them to feel love. Right? When I don't let anybody touch my brand unless I get good vibes and there's love around it. So
from grape to glass, I like
from grape to glass.
We'll put that in big bold letters on the top of it. Okay, another thing you said earlier was that you guys invest in yourself. I feel like entrepreneurs, I'm gonna say, I feel like entrepreneurs are getting spoiled and lazy. Right? They think it's a get rich quick scheme or trick. So kind of talk to us on where your mindset was at of realizing, hey, before we actually launch, before we do everything, we're going to invest our money into this, and then we're not really ready. We're not really expecting a return right now. We want to make sure we put a great product. What was your mindset like that too?
So when I first started, I was not very confident in myself at all. I was at the age of 33. I had like this small mental breakdown because I realized in my life I could do more, but I wasn't doing it. And so I had a breakdown. At 33, I was like, oh my God, I'm working a dead-end job. It's just awful. But I'm glad that I had that breakdown. And so the first place that I started for me was I got a business coach, and it was more about mindset. It was the business coach and the mindset. And in 2017, that's exactly when it was taught. It was like $2,500. I'd never spent $2,500 on myself ever. And my fiance Todd, he's like, okay, do it. And we were not in a place to spend that kind of money. I don't know why he said yes, but he said to go ahead and do it, and it has paid for itself 10 times over, right? Like, you got to get in the right mind frame. Like, how do you think about yourself? How do you think about what you're doing? Putting yourself in a place of where you want to be. I want to be known as one of the top Texas wine brands. Said that in 2017. 2020, I released. We've been in Forbes. We've been in Wine Business Monthly. We've been in Dallas Morning News. We've been in Texas Monthly as who we are next to some of the biggest wine brands in Texas, right? And here, our pretty little bottle is sitting right next to that. So first and foremost, you gotta get that mindset right, because as we know as entrepreneurs, this lifestyle will eat you up and spit you out. And before you put your life savings on the line,
for sure,
you need to work on this because you have to.
Right. Another aspect of entrepreneurship I really preach to entrepreneurs is also learn sales. All right, it's super important because not only are you selling the product or service, you have to sell yourself. The more people that like you, that support you. So kind of talk us through that. Do you and your partner handle sales? Y'all sell at the beginning, or did y'all have somebody come in for that?
So what was really awesome is we were wine brokers. Okay. And so I got slapped in the face really hard in wine sales, which I wouldn't suggest anybody who doesn't have a backing to just go be like, I'm going to sell wine in Dallas. Dallas is a huge market. The world of wine descends on Dallas. They put tons and tons of marketing dollars in Dallas and Texas as a whole. Now, I'm glad we did it because, I got my butt kicked in all sorts of ways. And that's where I really learned. I remember in 2017, I went to a friend and he was in sales. I was like, I was scared to go talk to anybody about wine. I was scared. And he was like, you're going to have to get over it. You're just going to have to do it. And that's where that mindset actually comes in, right? So here I was trying to sell in fear. You can't sell in fear, right? Because people are going to pick up on that. Now, do I still get, kind of nervous or whatever? Yes, I do. But it took practice, right? To do sales, but to not be salesy about it, right? Let people know, no, you want to be a part of Cheramie Wine because Cheramie Wine's doing some awesome stuff because we are, right? And you are not only helping, you're just not giving your dollar to some random person. You're giving it to a family-owned business that is actually part of a whole, organization of our industry of people. So we go straight to the grape growers, and so that's agriculture. We go to, it's a whole thing, and your money isn't going to random people. So
that's amazing. One fun question I want to ask, but I kind of asked in different industry. So, okay, if you could have anybody drinking your brand, drink your wine, who would it be and why?
So, and it's so funny that you even asked this because we went through a brand development. So we did a professional brand development. We hired a marketing company to help move us forward within our brand so that we don't look rinky-dink, but you know what I mean? Like we are competing against the world. And we were going through a list of celebrities. Who do you want drinking your wine? And I'm like, I don't really want, I don't really follow celebrities in that way or whatever. But then I said Beyonce, but not because Bayhive, not because of that, but because of her business sense. And I feel like if she drank this and she heard my story and she saw what I was doing, she'd be like, you know what, we'll figure out how to get around this, right? So it's because of her business sense. But my wine is good. It's good. She could be drinking it and she'll enjoy it, but she could see what we're trying to do, specifically as a Black woman myself, and be like, you know what, these are the type of people we need leading I call it the change that's happening right now within our, community.
Sure. And to tie it all together, we like to ask our audience, our interviews, give us motivation for our entrepreneurs, for people who are watching this. I always like to do motivational quotes on our post, every third post, just to keep people going. So from your story, from the life you live, just give some advice to, entrepreneurs that are like, man, I'm struggling. I don't know if I should keep going. What would you tell them?
Never give up, no matter what. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm going to get too much. No matter who tells you no matter who gets that funding and not you, no matter how much you don't sell, if it is in your soul and if it's in your spirit, do not give up. That no is on them. That no has nothing to do with you. Yes, it's heart-wrenching to hear that. But sometimes, and most times, that no is the best no you'll get. And if it is for you, it'll come right back around to you. But no matter who says no, don't give up. No matter who laughs at you in your face or behind your back, don't give up. No matter how sick you feel because we all have those really down days, don't give up. And so that's my number one, don't. No matter who says anything to you, no matter if you're on your last dollar, don't give up.
The next words from Cheramie. Thank you.
Thank you.